and then they put an informant next to him and, you know, got friendly with him. And then in 2005, they had a big press conference. This was after 9/11, of course, and with Ashcroft and the head of the FBI saying he was essentially one of the commanders of Hamas, which was absurd because he had been actually to the Palestine one time since he came to this country in 1979. Anyway, we had a big conspiracy trial here in Chicago where for the first time they brought in these interrogators from the Israeli secret police to testify about his interrogation to justify his confession, saying, oh no, we didn't do anything. And they claimed, the Israeli government claimed all the information they got and all their methods and all their procedures was classified, and it was therefore classified under U.S. law. They cleared the courtroom. They let only the defense lawyers and the Israelis and the U.S. government in there. They had these guys come in, these interrogators. They testified under assumed names. And every time I would ask them about their methods, the Israeli government said that's classified. And so we had like a military trial in the U.S. federal court. And the judge found, oh, that he wasn't tortured, even though all the evidence shows he was. He was kept awake for 72 hours. He was tied to a small chair. He was slapped around. At one point, after 50 days, they say your interrogation is over. We're going to put you with other Palestinians in a big cell. And they put him in a cell with these Palestinians who are secretly cooperating with the Israelis, and they force him to make a handwritten statement over 2 weeks of this confession, and then they put him on tape and they get this confession. So the judge allowed the confession in, but then we had a jury trial, and the jury rejected the confession and found him not guilty of this RICO charge, a racketeering charge, but found him guilty of a minor charge, and he went to prison for 20 months. And I became very involved in the Palestinian issues and the Palestinian movement. And 2 years ago, another group of Palestinians were raided and subpoenaed to a grand jury, and were looking at being charged with material support for a Palestinian organization.
Is this the Chicago protesters?
Yes. And they're still waiting. 2 years later, they haven't been indicted yet. But one of the people I've been representing is the executive director of the Arab American Action Network, Hatem Abodaya, very dynamic, well regarded. And he's been under this investigation for 2 years, providing this material support for a terrorist organization. And the law now is that even First Amendment activity, marching in a demonstration, writing an op-ed page, writing a letter in support of a political prisoner, can be considered material support for a terrorist organization.
Illinois law or federal law?
Federal law. Over the years, beginning in the with my work with the Puerto Rican movement, I began to investigate and write about developments in repression by the government. And they're always particularly focused on the most militant, to get these changes in the law, like the use of the grand jury, like using seditious conspiracy. And now I've been writing about political repression in the age of Obama, which unfortunately has been extending this repressive denial of civil liberties even beyond what the Bush era did, with the drone attacks, with the use of this material support law against First Amendment, with surveillance on people, with the use of the grand jury. So one of the things I've tried to do in my legal career is not only go to court for people, but try and explain from my experience how the law is being used as a repressive tool against political activists. So I've written a lot about it, and I've also spoken a lot about it. So that's kind of in a nutshell my, 40-year career of legal work.